For those guys, one of their biggest lessons is discovering who they are and what they want. And the two biggest questions, who am I and what do I want? Because you cannot honor your word without knowing the answer to those two questions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, The Powerful Man Matthews. Tim, what's happening, brother?
Yo, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, I am doing phenomenal too. As you know, I was in a ceremony over the weekend that was very profound. As you're aware, you've heard of all the lessons and insights and inspiration I took away from that. At times it was a very painful experience. Other times it was a very enlightening experience. But overall, I am doing phenomenal.
Good. And, you and I have both been through so much personal growth and spiritual growth over our journey. It was awesome to hear about your experience with this time and how amazing it was. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I think that should be another episode altogether because I know a lot of people ask us questions about that. Really, what I want to talk about today, Tim, is, where men aren't honoring their word. Where are they lying to themselves, to other people? Where are they not honoring their word? What do you think?
Wow. Where are they not honoring the word? There's so many ways in which you could take this, isn't there? Because for me, in my own journey, one thing that I constantly, I want to say struggle with, but an idea that I'm always playing with is that idea of flexibility, but whilst also taking radical responsibility for my results. Now, what I've found for me is that it doesn't necessarily work for me to be really rigid to the point whereby I exclude any spontaneity in my life. For example, if I say I'm going to get up at 7 a.m. to hit the gym, but it turns out that I wake up at 7 and I'm tired, but instead I sleep a little bit longer and go to the gym a little bit later and change my day around as a result, that's sometimes okay. And I think, one of the keys here, Doug, is, for me, that flexibility and that radical responsibility still take me to the same end result. So it's not necessarily about digging my heels in and being super rigid to the point whereby I exclude any of my ability to flow, but it is about still achieving the end outcome. And I know that for me, in my own journey, something that in the past I struggled with a lot where I didn't honor my word was particularly in my diet. I would say that I was going to eat a certain way, and I'd prepare the meals and I set up the Keystone habits. It'd make it easy for me to succeed, but then somehow, some way, I would then reach for some food that wasn't necessarily as healthy. It was never, I don't eat shit. It's not like I eat rubbish, but there's levels to it, isn't there? It wasn't as clean as it could have been. And I wasn't honoring my word there. And, for a time, I really allowed myself to justify why that was okay. Oh, well, you've just been on calls and you've coached all these men and you've expended all this, emotional energy, and you're tired, and, it's 7 o'clock, you don't enjoy cooking, and, it's okay. Just go ahead and have that curry or have that whatever. But really what was going on there is it really meant that in the process of not honoring my word, I was then basically not being trustworthy. It didn't strengthen, it didn't cultivate a positive self-image. If anything, it detracted from it. We speak about this a lot with the men in the activation method when they're using their COIL, and the COIL is the chart of intentional living, and it's a productivity tool and a productivity planner, and every week they have a score at 35. Now, the beauty of the COIL is that they set the rules of the game. You get a maximum of 1 point per day in the 5 areas of your life: business, health, wealth, self, relationships. You get a point by doing what you say you're going to do, honoring your word. Now, if you write too many things down in your coil and you don't get them all done, then you don't get a point. And if you're struggling to get points, it's great feedback for, are you taking on too much? Or are you just saying yes to things that are really a no? Sometimes, I know in the past for me, I used to be in the habit of just kind of wanting to do everything, wanting to say yes to so many things. And I would really overestimate what I was capable of doing and getting done and achieving. So as a result, I was busy and not productive, which then made it difficult to honor my word, which then reinforced more of a negative self-image. I was relying on willpower a lot every day. And it was tough. It was tough to achieve the progress and success that I really desired. And one of the things for me that made it a lot easier for me to honor my word, another thing we speak about a lot, is fuck yes or fuck no. And you and I have been studying about essentialism of late, and it feeds into that. Really being clear on what you are saying yes to, and making sure they're fully aligned, and creating a space in your life to actually be able to reflect and review on what is a fuck yes for you. Because if your life is full with things that you say yeah, but really it's a no, you're naturally not going to want to do it. You're not going to honor your word. You're going to beat yourself up. Your standards are going to slip. You're going to feel shame. You're going to get into a cycle, and you're going to drink more beer. You're going to eat more food. You're going to sleep in more. Your energy's going to be it's a repeating cycle. It's a repeating pattern. You got to get to the root of it in order to change it.
So true. It all starts with yourself, right? And the lies that we tell ourselves. And the more and more you follow this pattern, this cycle, as you were saying, the more you are going to build up resistance to trusting yourself, right? So when you say you're going to do something internally, you're just not going to believe yourself. And for those that are listening to this, and most of the men that come to the Powerful Man are business owners and their husbands and fathers. When you're doing this and you've built up this, well, let's just say resistance to trusting yourself, that comes out in your word, right? When you're talking to other people, it comes out in your energy, comes out in your presence, and that applies to your family, to your kids, right? To your spouse, and also to your business, right? You can see this so often when you're talking to a business owner who is so unsure of himself when he's going from a sales presentation or anything like that. And that starts, though, that presence, that clarity, that confidence starts with, telling yourself the truth, so to speak, but doing the actual work behind it, as you're saying.
Yeah, it's a muscle, isn't it, at the end of the day? One thing that I have learned a lot from is saying no. I'm quite a difficult person to get hold of. I often don't reply to text messages. I often don't reply to WhatsApp messages. I often don't reply to emails. I often, there are a lot of things that I don't do that I used to do because I used to people please a lot. So I would then, say yes to things, and I'd just be leaking my energy all over the place, wanting to please people, wanting to be liked at the end of the day. This then fed into the business with leaks in my leadership. I would then want to save people in the business. I want to save my staff. I want to save clients. And as a result, like I said, you'd say yes to things and they'd fall through the cracks. They'd fall through the cracks. And, a big thing that came out of the ceremony for me this past weekend, Doug, was self-discipline. And this was coming from a shaman, who you typically expect and perceived to be a real spiritual teacher, which he is. But he was making it practical too. And he was talking about, the importance of self-discipline and releasing the need for immediate gratification and being on the path and walking the path and loving the path. A great thing he said is that, look, we're all on the way out, so we may as well enjoy it. It was great.
I love that.
Yeah. And self-discipline, in order for you to have that discipline over yourself, you've got to be on a path that you enjoy, which then comes from you being able to discern between yes and no. which means that you're going to say no a lot more than you're going to say yes. You just are. If you want to get to a point whereby you can honor your word because you are saying yes to the things that really light you up, therefore you naturally want to do them, and then when you do them and you see the fruits of your actions, what does it then do? It then builds your self-image. You then gain confidence. You see results. You naturally want to do more of it and more of it and more of it. And, anyone at the top of their game, they really focus on their zone. On the first ever episode we did of this show, Doug, we spoke about identifying your zone of genius. And those people at the top of their game, making the big moves in their personal and professional life, have really identified what that zone is, and as a result, stuck to it and said no to everything else. Whereas on the flip side of this, when we speak to guys that come into the activation method, a common theme for them is that they are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed, overworked, burnt out, and very unfulfilled. As a result, it shows up in their life with disconnection in the relationships. They're not there. They're arguing. They're lying in bed at night awake, worrying. The mind's racing. They go into the business. It's unproductive. Growth is slow. They don't produce at the level they know they can produce. And their health is very passive. And for those guys, one of their biggest lessons is discovering who they are and what they want. And the two biggest questions, who am I and what do I want? Because you cannot honor your word without knowing the answer to those two questions.
Hey guys, I had to interrupt this show because I want to talk to you about a case study we put together. It's only 11 minutes, and what we do is we go over and show you how almost 300 men have taken control of their life, have already 4x'd their business revenue, and are having more connected and intimate sex with their partner using the activation method. Now, they're doing all this without burning down their relationships and without suffering and sacrificing for their health. We want you to have this too, so go over to thepowerfulman.com/11, the number 11, and get this right now. It's only 11 minutes, and it's going to show you exactly how these men have done it. All right, let's get back to the episode.
And so, Tim, the guys that are listening to this now, first of all, let's go back, because I know there are men that are listening to this right now being like, well, I honor my word. I don't lie. What would you say to those guys?
If I was to go into your business, let's say you've got a business. If I was to go into your business and cherry pick at random 5 of your staff or 2 of your staff, and how many you've got, and ask them whether or not you do what you say you're going to do, what would they say? If I was to go into your family home, speak to your wife and say, hey, does Doug do what he says he's going to do? If I was to speak to your kids and say, hey, does Daddy do what he says he's going to do? Does he play with you when he says he's going to play with you? What would those people say? And if you firmly feel wholeheartedly they would undoubtedly say yes, awesome, good for you. Celebrate that. If you have an inclination of doubt, then it's clearly a no. Fuck yes or fuck no. And if it is a no, then cool. That's okay. Just accept that. It doesn't mean you're weak or you're a bad man or you're losing or you're failing. No, not at all. I mean, if you choose to label it in that way, it just keeps you in that cycle, doesn't it? It's just where you are. And if that is where you are, then I imagine it's because you don't know the answer to those 2 questions of who you are and what you want. Because if you did know the answer to those 2 questions and you were firm in that belief, you would then know what you want and you would be honoring that instead of self-sacrificing and people-pleasing.
And guys, when you're listening to this, if this is upsetting you, what Tim is saying right now, this is a key indication you're getting triggered, and you get triggered because you know or you subconsciously or consciously know what he's saying is true. And this is just another breadcrumb in the road on your journey. So nothing to be upset about. But the truth is that most of the men that we're encountering are lying, right? It's just the truth. They're not doing it on purpose per se. We make these subconscious promises to ourselves. We say we're going to do things to our staff, to our kids, whatever it may be, and we don't follow through because of what we consider priorities oftentimes. But so just listen to what the words Tim is saying. And if you find yourself with this, then you're running into a pattern, right? And we recognize a pattern, that this pattern becomes an issue. And if it's not serving you, it's definitely something that you want to take care of and get help with. I mean, that's a key thing with getting a coach or coaching or going through a program like the activation method, is you're getting optics from all different angles that you can see these leaks that are coming out through you. So Tim, also for the men that are listening, right? They're not lying. Once I discover, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh crap. He's talking, that's me. I tell my kids I'm going to spend time with them. I tell my wife I'm going to do the dishes. I tell my friends I'm going to go to the next guy's event. I tell my staff they're getting bonuses. I say all these things. I set my alarm for 6 a.m., but I don't get up till 7, and I'm going to work out, tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day I'm going to work out, right? So I find myself in this pattern. What do I do?
Wow. What do you do? I could go into a lot of things there. First,
all right, we only have about 5 minutes here, right? We want to keep, but in about 5 minutes or a couple short explanation. I know this could be for you as a master coach. You could go on for hours and hours with this, but give the guys a couple nuggets.
Been gone for years. So what do you do? So you become aware of the pattern. Awesome. What I like to do, and what we encourage the guys to do that works well, is come clean. First step, come clean. The reason why you do that is because it releases the guilt and the shame around the story. So let's say you realize that you are not honoring your word in your relationship. Come clean and say, hey, Amelia, I recognize that lately I said I was going to do X, Y, Z, and I've not been doing it. And more often than not, depending on how long you've been doing it and what the impact of that has been, usually what we have found is the people closest to you are very understanding, depending on, like I said, how your actions have been impacting them and how many warning signs they have been giving you as well. That's a very key thing here. So first step, come clean. It's going to alleviate a lot of the heaviness around this. Second step is then to align to, what it is you really want. Okay, Amelia, I realize that I'm not doing this. I apologize. I'd really love to experience more connection with you. Right now, I don't really know how to do that. Maybe we can go on a date night once a week. Maybe we can just have a conversation, just brainstorm either on your own or with the person or persons involved and come up, realign to what it is you really want. And then the third thing I would do is then get clear on who you get to be in order to experience that and what you get to let go of too. There will have been certain actions that you will have been taking, and underneath that, certain beliefs that will have been running those actions that will have been causing you to not honor your word. It's very important that you get clear on what those are and then change those into more empowering and positive beliefs and behaviors. So that will fuel you to be able to have and achieve what it is you're now saying. And finally, I would recommend getting some form of accountability, whether that is from your partner or the people involved, or whether it's from a coach or a program or whatever. But I would highly recommend getting some accountability, because by this stage, you're growing and you're going to be changing your behaviors and changing how you show up. And sometimes, depending on how deeply ingrained those habits and those beliefs and behaviors are, sometimes we don't always see when we're slipping back into those old ways. One of the things you could do is set up an alarm up on your phone to go off every 3 hours, let's say, and that could ask you a question that's in alignment with what you want to achieve, i.e., am I showing up as the powerful man that I am, or am I showing up as, insert blank? That can help for you to break certain patterns. But either way, accountability and support is really important. here, because there are going to become times when you fall short of what you have said you're going to do. It's important in those instances not to beat yourself up, because all that's going to do is take you back into that same energy that you're trying to leave. So having some support, having accountability is going to be really important.
I love it. So listen, guys, you've gotten tons of nuggets here to apply. I'd recommend this is one of those episodes that you want to start again and listen to one more time, because it's all about taking action, right? Listening to these episodes and these podcasts or these shows, if you're watching them on YouTube or however you're getting them, that's great. But it really is, as I always talk about, educational masturbation, right? I say that because so many of us can go through and listen to 2, 3, 4 podcasts and not take action. We go, oh, that's a good idea, I'm going to do that. But we don't take action. This is your chance to honor your word. Take action right now. Go ahead and pause this, head over to the Facebook group, and make sure and make your declaration right there in the Activation Method Facebook group. Also, make sure you're getting that 11-minute case study, guys. This is time to take action and honor your word and take action right at this moment. Don't just listen to this, agree with things that Tim is saying or go, that's a great idea, I'm going to do that in my life, and not take action, right? Share this with one of your fellow friends. I highly recommend it. This is how you build your tribe and move forward. Tim, any parting words for the men?
Just go easy on yourself. The journey is a destination. Just enjoy it. Like the shaman told me, we're all on our way out. So enjoy the ride and make the most of it as well. My advice to you would be to be urgent, but not rushed. So urgent is making the most of your time. Being rushed is I don't have enough time. So make the most of your time. We all like to think we've got all the time in the world, but nobody knows how long we've got. So like I said, make the most of your time.
Yeah, enjoy the journey, but get over there and do the work now. It's the yin and yang, right? It's at the end of the day, as much work and development as we do, we're still men, and we're still got that aggressive, testosterone, let's get it done attitude. All right, guys, that is it for us today. We'll look forward to talking to you at the next episode, and we will see you next week.